Morning, everyone. On behalf of Cognixia, I take the opportunity to welcome you all to the Microsoft AI Skill Fest. This is a dynamic gathering that celebrates learning, collaboration, and future forward thinking. With this, we are pleased to welcome our subject matter expert and Microsoft certified trainer, Anshu, with us, who will be leading this session on getting started with AI agents in GitHub Copilot. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. And with this, Anshu, let us get started with the fest, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me share the screen. Hello and good morning, all. Welcome you all to the AI Skill Fest starting up today. This is going to be a 50-day event organized by Microsoft on learning multiple AI skills. Well, today's webinar is on building an application with GitHub Copilot agent mode. Now, it's not only Copilot, but in addition to it, it's more of agent mode. My name is Anshu. I'm going to be the speaker for the day. What I do is I am a Microsoft certified. I work as an analytics and AI consultant, and I help my clients in developing a lot of AI analytics solutions with Azure and hosting multiple models on Azure Cloud as well. What I do is in addition to consulting, I've been coaching, developing a lot of apps like gardening, playing Sudoku, and a little bit like drawings. Moving on, what's it for you? Welcome you all to this webinar, which is part of the Microsoft AI Skill Fest that starts today on 8th of April and is going to stretch till 21st of May, having a sequence of events planned out, webinars as part of it across the globe. And to participate in this and earn your badge as part of the Microsoft AI Skill Fest, what you can do is you can scan this QR code mentioned on your screen and register yourself. This is for registering for AI Skill Fest specifically, where you can register for the fest and join the motion to build a Guinness World Record. And for sure, you can ask questions with the Microsoft AI experts, moderators in this chat, and during the webinars, this one, and like many others. So that's one, right? Let's move on further, talk about what's the agenda for the day today. Well, today's webinar is on GitHub Copilot agent mode. Now that's the most necessary component. Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to first look at what are the learning objectives, which is what we're checking out now. And we're going to explore what exactly it brings in addition to GitHub Copilot agent mode. We're going to go ahead and also try out developing an application, which is Octofit tracker application. And you're going to get to see an application developed end-to-end with the help of GitHub Copilot agent mode. And you'll also get the opportunity to give it a hand, give it a try of GitHub code spaces, right? So let's begin up with that. Here you go. So first, what exactly is GitHub Copilot agent mode? GitHub Copilot on a whole is a Copilot as an assistant built on the top of GitHub using OpenAI models in the backend. And what it does is simply assist developers in developing solutions, applications, more of act as a co-programmer in addition to the core programmer. On the top of GitHub Copilot, there's another component called GitHub Copilot Agent Mode, which primarily is an enhancement to the Copilot capabilities, right, which you can access via GitHub Copilot chat. And what it is, so an agent can be thought of as a programmer as powerful or as good as human, to whom you can instruct, to which you can instruct as in what to do, what not to do, and it will find out the solutions to the problems or tasks given. And it simply analyzes the overall code space. So it doesn't look at only one specific script or one specific notebook. It looks at the whole code space to understand the whole context and keeps iterating on the top of its own code and keep modifying that, right? So that's one. You can also test out this. It's available as a preview feature for VS Code insider users. And yeah, it's quite exciting. You can check it out. We'll get to see that as well for sure, right? So what's more? Well, what are we going to do in this, right? Although GitHub Copilot agent mode is quite exciting, but what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and see how do we use GitHub Copilot agent mode with the help of VS Code ID within GitHub Code Spaces. And we can write some prompts to the GitHub Copilot where it can develop, perform certain tasks. And in order to do this, we got some documentation files, which is what we're going to follow and perform the job, right? So nutshell, what a GitHub Copilot agent mode can do is it can sort of write code, look at its own error, fix the code, check out the issues, refactor the code, or add a lot of new features to the code as well as soon as we, the way we ask it. So what exactly does it bring, right? So before we move to the application, the last slide to talk about what exactly do you get with GitHub Copilot. So first, it can do autonomous operation. So it operates in a more of very dynamic manner where it doesn't only follow a set of static tasks. So that way it is quite autonomous to achieve whatever desired outcome that you have set. For example, let's say if we ask it to maybe analyze a specific code feature, identify a bug and improve that, or optimize latency for a given code. So it can look at building a dynamic workflow that first I need to analyze the code, look at the flaws, make a suggestion, test out whether it works well or not. So it can form set of its own set of tasks or to do steps to achieve the target outcomes. Second, it can for sure do multi-step tasking, which is where it can perform multi-step coding. For example, task one, which could be creating an application from scratch. It can also do refactor the same code which it has created across multiple files, maybe fetch the function, map the function as well, write tests, execute tests as well for that. Copilot agent mode has also got a lot of tools for task completions, right? What does that mean is, uh, in general, AI agents are equipped with multiple tools, and they can select those tools and use those tools to accomplish the task based on given input scenario. So agent mode similarly here in GitHub Copilot uses a set of tools to perform tasks, which could be like making code changes, executing the code, executing a terminal command or bash command like that. Uh, More of function calling capability you can say in the backend with LLM, and it can perform all of these tasks in parallel. So you can say multiple tools can be executed in parallel. For example, it can read all the files, list all the files at the same time, edit the files, execute the command. All of these instructions it can follow in one shot. GitHub Copilot in agent mode can also look at the code changes, execute terminal commands as we discussed to complete the task, maybe perform installations, pip install this, conda install, npm install. It can also look at errors by executing terminal commands. Self-healing, one of the most exciting feature which I love the most in agent mode, and I would say one of the key differentiator to GitHub Copilot compared to maybe any other developing solutions or development assistants that you've been using. So agent mode iterates independently to achieve the target outcomes. It fixes its own issues and keeps optimizing those. And it also keeps checking out how good or correct the code is, and it can predict those issues in a quick go. If there are any issues, execute some tests on terminal and resolve those issues. If there are certain patch up issues, as in libraries are not installed, compatibility of packages, it can do all of those automatically. So that's where we can say that the way you do your runtime error optimization for any given task, GitHub Copilot does that. It acts as you, the developer. So that's one, right? What's more? Well, a bundle of features, right? So it can, the another feature is user control. Just highlight that. User control and review. So you can always control what changes that you want to do to your code, right? It can, you can always mention that, these are the edits, and it gives you control as in whether you want to accept those edits, whether you want to push those edits or not, right? So it always checks for a confirmation that these are the changes I feel that should be done. Should we go ahead and execute those or not? So before executing anything, you get the option to approve it, right? So you get a control and you get an option to review what changes Copilot is suggesting. Uh, that's a good feature actually, because at times, the code or maybe the actual solution or what should be done, what should be not done, and you think that there is an error with AI, you can actually modify that. Next is context management. Context management is where, although Copilot agent is quite autonomous, where it can do its own stuff, but you can always refer the context that, this is the file where I have mentioned the actual code, or the uh, I want to include this specific file, which is actually a backend or front end or a dependency for this specific package. You can always add that context. So you can actually modify what set of code files or packages or modules Copilot takes in account or consideration to do the job, right? You can always do undo and redo. You can interrupt the request. You can pause or cancel the agent mode request. Likewise. So there are so many features out of them. Some of them are here. Besides that, there are certain limitations as well. One of the important limitation is that it is in preview mode at the moment, so you may not get the complete access. But yeah, it may not take much longer, but at least for now it is in preview mode. And uh, sometimes when you use Copilot agent, it can be slightly bit more non-deterministic compared to what it acts in edit mode. And yeah, uh, it uses LLMs, and the more you use it, the more consumption goes in. So you get a limited quota in consumption for Copilot, and it may happen that if you love it, like the way I started, I was like, I could finish my whole quota in a day. And yeah. Another limitation is in case if you come from analytics or AI background and you are pretty much Jupyter Notebook savvy, so agent mode doesn't work well with Jupyter Notebook. I mean, as of now, it is not compatible with notebooks in VS Code. So that's one limitation, and I'm actually waiting for that to happen. So well, with that, let's go ahead and explore and test out this. Check it out. How does this go? So what we can do here is next we can go ahead and develop an application which is Octofit tracker application, right? And so we're gonna have some characters like Paul Octo and Jessica Cat. The challenge is that uh, there's a school, Barrington High School, and students don't exercise outside of the PE classes, right? And uh, that's where we need some sort of for fun a tracker application where we can track the fitness or maybe activities, right? The solution would be Octofit Tracker app. What it does is it does the fitness tracking, right? We're going to design this using Copilot agent mode, and sure that it is compliant with school policy. So we have a set of school policies with us, which we can use as a context for the Copilot to understand what features to add and what features not to add. What features are we looking into this is we're looking to build or integrate user profiling and activity logging. We want to also add a team competition and a leaderboard as well. Some of the personalized workout suggestions and progress tracking dashboard, right? So what you can do is, or you're going to do as well, is we're going to follow the Paul's journey to use. So Paul has developed this using GitHub code spaces and with the help of GitHub Copilot agent mode. And with this development, we're going to get to see how agent mode can be used to develop the application end to end. And then what next? What next is you can build a similar application for yourself using GitHub Copilot agent mode. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, to begin with, what you can do is you can go ahead and scan this QR code. This will take you to uh, uh, a link, a GitHub link, which is more of a template for a repository to get started, right? I'm sorry, come back here. So I'll redisplay the link, right? Let me just right. So here we go. You can scan this QR code, and that we can access it. Meanwhile, I will open the link here, which is already there, but I'll just copy and paste it in front of you. And here we go. So it is GitHub.com, and this is one of the this is the link for the repo that we're using. Right. Scanning this QR code will help you access the repo. And this is a starter repo to build the application with agent mode, specifically Octofit tracker application here. And what you can do is you can click on use this template, and there's an option called create a repository. Right. Click on use this template, and there's an option to create a new repository. I'm going to do that. And going to give it a name like Octofit tracker application. And let's say this is Anshu Pandey, something like that. And yeah, description, Microsoft AI Skills Fest, GitHub Copilot, agent mode, app. The app is Octofit tracker application. I'm going to make it public, and not going to include all branches, just the main branch. There could be many branches available over here, but let's keep this one. Click on create repository. Right, and here we got the repo. Right. So there's a detailed guide available in .github. If you open this, steps, and you can see that here is a detailed guide available. So I'll just take out this guide separately. Right. A bit of explanation around what is GitHub Copilot Agent Mode. So it's an AI agent with a lot of tools which can take dynamic decisions on how to accomplish a specific job or maybe a specific step, right? And it can create its own workflow for doing any specific task, right? So let me share the link in chat if you want. Here we go. Right. I hope that should help. Wonderful. So you can just clone it and use the template to get started. Right. I'm just going to wait for 30 seconds another so that you can get it working. Meanwhile, I'll keep it open here as well. So if you have cloned it, now you would see there's an option to start exercise, right? At the very bottom of the repo. So you can click on start exercise. Right, so it takes you to step 1, right, which is where we get the option to open in GitHub code spaces, and it's going to confirm the repository. So we can confirm the repository. And, we can switch to the insider version for VS Code. Yeah, let me repeat that. No problem. So what you can do is you can navigate to this link first. This link, let's say here. Sorry, this one. The link that I have shared earlier, which is this one, sorry. Navigate to this one, here we go. And click on use this template, create a new repository. Use this template, create a new repository. Just go to the link, use this template, create a new repository. On the top right corner, you will get to see that. So that should help you. It will ask for the name of repository. You can just give it a name, repo name, and simply click on create repo. So I've given my name, let's say Anshu, out of it tracker application, like that. I use this name. Just use a little different name. That should help you. Okay. Make sure that you're logged in with GitHub. That's important. Right? So use this template and create a new repository. Make sure that this requires you to log in with GitHub account. You need to have an active GitHub account. Right? Then you should be able to see that. If you try out with without a GitHub account, let's say if I copy this link, you may not see that, right? So you may not see the option of use this template if you are logging in without a GitHub account. Like this, you might see that. So the moment you're logged in, you'll see the use this template option. Yeah, in case if you don't have an account, you need to sign up first. But in that would stretch a little bit. So I may, because we have got limited timeline here, so we'll take a step ahead for now. So yeah, use this template option will be only there if you're logged into GitHub. So you need to have a GitHub account for this. Right. So I hope that resolves the issue, or gives the clarity around why this option you may not see that. So in case if you're already on GitHub, you can simply log in and then you will see the option, use this template to create a new repository. If you're not, maybe then you can park this activity for a later on step. Let's at the moment check out what we can do with GitHub Copilot agent mode. And you can follow the steps for sure. All right. So with that, you can use your official email ID, but I would suggest to use personal email ID because that way you will be able to go ahead and keep using the GitHub account for longer use. Right, here you go. So next we're going to go ahead and open in, so the moment you start with, so I'll repeat the next step as well. So when you go to application, you will see the in the repo, the link to start exercise. So you just need to click on start exercise. When you do that, then you can see that there is an option open in GitHub code spaces. So here we go. So you get the option to create new code spaces. We'll click that option. Now, by default, you cannot use Copilot agent mode in GitHub VS Code. So you can always switch to the insiders version, right, to be able to access this. So you can, there is on the bottom right corner, bottom left corner, we can see this code spaces. If you right click on this, or if you click on this, and you can search for, or else you can also go to view and second. Let's it get loaded. Right. So once we're here, you can see in the settings icon, you will see the option switch to insiders version. So if you click on setting icon on the bottom left corner, settings, switch to insider version. So I'll set reload. So Copilot agent mode is only available at the moment in VS Code insiders version. Right. So here we go. Now, next what we can do is we're going to go ahead and start with the application development engineering. And this would require us to do a lot of steps, right? So we'll start with that. So if you're new to VS Code, just we got File Explorer here where you can see the files. We got the search option, source control option, extensions here, for Python and a lot of other stuff, and GitHub pull request. So we're going to be using many of these moving ahead. Right. And the very top, you will see the icon for chat. This is where there's an icon for GitHub Copilot Open Chat. That's where you can start with the Copilot chat. Right. So that's one. Right. So first thing that we can do is, okay, right. So you can do that later. If in case you don't have an active GitHub account, you can try out this later. Let's have a look at this at the moment and explore the capabilities or the value that GitHub Copilot agent mode brings on the table. Right. It'll take some time, maybe to get the email ID verified and all. So yeah, no problem. Let's proceed for now. Okay, so here we go. And next we got the application here. So we got the repository. Now we're going to make some changes to this. Now, instead of we doing changes, maybe what we can do is we can create a feature branch and make changes there. So instead of we manually creating feature branch, let's ask Copilot to do that. So we're going to prompt here, hey Copilot, how can I create and publish a new Git branch called build Octafit app? So let's copy this and paste it here. Right. Let me refresh this. Okay, looks a little challenging. All right, no issue. So ideally it should. So let's try out here. Just failed. Trick. Challenge here. So ideally, let me check out this. It sometimes takes a bit of time to load and actively load the chat option over here. GitHub Copilot option over here. Let me just check, make sure that this is insider's version. Yeah, it is insider version. And let me just refresh this page once. Right. So I just have to change the chat to agent option. And we're good to go. So we'll copy the prompt here, which is, hey Copilot, how can I publish a new Git branch called build Octofit app? So we'll paste it here and let's see what Copilot can do. So whenever you ask any question, Copilot is going to analyze the code base and going to check, give a set of suggestions. And before executing this, it will always ask you for confirmation. So it says to create a published new Git branch called build Octofit, follow the steps: Git branch, build Octofit app, Git checkout, build Octofit app, Git push, your origin, build Octofit app. Do you want to execute this? We can say yes, do that. So it'll, identify this set of commands to be executed, and we can click on continue. And the moment you click on continue, it will start executing. So you don't have to copy and paste the commands from here to there. And we don't have to almost perform anything. We just have to keep chatting with the developer to get the job done. Right, so here we are, and it has done the job. So we can see that build Octofit app. And just to validate and verify, what you can do is we can go ahead and check out here. Have you got the new branch created? So, right. So that's the main branch. And then we got build Octofit app, as you can see. So we got a new branch created. So that's one, right? So this is where we're going to the step one. Next, we're going to move to step two. Okay. And so we'll go to step two. Step two is about step two is about setting up the application. So you want to set up the application where we want to install all the libraries. We want to get the folder set up as well, right? And perform the job accordingly. So we got here something like in docs, as you can see, that the high school tracker MD, which has actual description of what to do, what not to do, right? And all the details as well, what libraries to fetch. So it has some description of the libraries and packages to be used. Right, and we may want GitHub Copilot agent to keep understanding this and accordingly perform the options. MongoDB commands to initialize all of that, right? And a bit of Octofit story, what it is built for. So Paul Octo has been a physical educator teacher at Merton High School, so on and so forth. So there's a certain context available here, right? And Copilot can be used even if there's no context as such, right? You can still continue using that, and it'll do the job. Right. So let's go ahead and do now a step wherein we can make sure that agent can understand our requirement, perform all the installations that are required for this. Right. So here we go, the prompt. So now we can ask agent that start the creation of whole application. So we can say that our prompt is, let's take the following step by step, generate instructions in order to execute the command. Use docs mono high school fitness tracker MD. So we got this. You can see docs mono high school fitness tracker MD, which has got the all description for the application as a guide for project structure and requirements. Understand the story of creating fitness application. Create the initial directory structure for the Octofit tracker app, backend and frontend. Set up the backend Python virtual environment, Octofit requirements.txt based on the MD file, readme. And don't proceed with next activity until all the steps are done. So we'll copy this, put this up here. One of the things that you can do is you can keep this Mona High School Fitness MD open, so it automatically picks that as a context that this is the current file, and we can add more actually. Right. So it's going to simply analyze this whole Octofit story.md and going to analyze the going to perform the read. So you can actually see the whole steps that it does step by step to perform the job. So it has, if we analyze this out, you can see that it has identified the process. The process would be, this is the directory structure, Octofit tracker backend, Octofit tracker frontend, and Python backend environment, for which it's going to, in backend, it's going to create requirements.txt. To do that, it's going to create this run the mkdir command. So we'll say continue. So mkdir command will create the folder structure. As a next step, it's going to run the command Python venv to create a Python virtual environment. So we're going to say continue, do this. So it's going to run those code and do the job. So you can see that we got Octofit tracker, and within the tracker, we got the folder backend and frontend. Now within backend, we got the requirement.txt, which agent has created. It is listed out all the files by automatically inferring from the the markdown file, all the packages that are to be used. Right. Furthermore, Copilot has been working on this problem for a while. It continues to iterate. Send a new message to refine your prompt. So you can say continue for now, right? So it has done the job. So next we can go ahead and install all the requirements.txt. So it says that next run this command in terminals, we'll say yes. Let's do that. Let's activate the environment and let's install all the packages listed in requirements.txt. And we didn't list it. It has been able to infer from the markdown file automatically, and it does the installation, right? Just wait for it to finish. So what we've done so far is we have done the setup of folder structure for the application. We have started out setting up the backend. As part of it, we have created a new virtual environment for backend. We have gathered the requirements.txt as in what packages to be installed. We have triggered it to install those packages as well for the current environment after activating the environment. So done with that, we're done so far, right? And it automatically fetches out. You see, the moment your terminal command is executed, it actually goes to the next step. We don't have to do anything. You can see my answer here. So I'm not doing anything at all over here. So it says, would you like to proceed with the next step, or is there anything else that you want to do? So we can say, yeah, we want to proceed for next step. So now it has automatically picked up requirements.txt in the context without us, we specifying that. Right, what's next? Right, so next is we're going to go ahead and install MongoDB backend. So we're going to install MongoDB and make sure the command is complete. Right, don't proceed with the next activity. So that's our prompt. So we'll copy that and paste it here. So it identifies that these are the commands to execute to install MongoDB. So we'll say continue. Let's go ahead and do that. It says MongoDB has been successfully installed. We can check whether it is up and running or not. So we can copy this prompt, start the MongoDB service, verify the service is running. So we can run this as well here. So we can check out, right? And done with step 2, right? Next, we can move to step 3, which is where we can say, now we can do a database setup, right? Initialize Octofit DB within the MongoDB database, Django application, update the app, populate the database with the data. Right, so first step is to set up the Django app. We'll do that. So we'll first continue here just to test MongoDB service running. So we can see that the status is actually, system empty is not running in container due to overhead. So MongoDB service has been successfully started and verified it's running, right? And next step, right? So next step we want to do is we want to set up simply sample Django project. So we'll say this is a prompt to go for. Right. The only thing that I have to do is, as a developer, I need to understand the code, how does it works, and I need to know knowledge of Django and MongoDB and reading terminal command. But then I don't have to write code technically, and I keep verifying what Copilot is actually doing it. So that makes, as a developer, my life quite easier. So here we go and look at the command, validate whether it is correct or not. Source Octo fit tracker backend Python environment. In that environment, we activate it. We install. We start with Django admin start project, and we start app as well. So this would set it up, right? Let's say continue. The command looks correct. It seems that there was an issue because the directory or file for the Django project or it already exists. The config, so it identifies, the folder already exists, right? So now it's gonna do another step where it's gonna add the tracker app to the installed apps in the list settings.py, right? So it's gonna check out the updates and right. Let's get to see that. So you can see that it's sort of modifying its own settings. It's on, it's kind of self-healing, right? And here we go. So it has identified now run these commands in the background. So let's do. So in general, even if it gets to error, right, it can actually check out its own code base and reiterate on the top of it to modify it further. And that's a key beauty of, how do you use Copilot Assistant versus agent mode. Right. So next I will run the Django server to verify that setup is working correctly. Continue. Let's do that. So it has done all the checks. We're good to go. As the next step, we'll create OctoDB MongoDB database, right? So first we'll run this command just to check. Since it doesn't exist, we'll continue to create it. Now it's created. So done with that. Now we can test out. System check, no issues, good to go. Next step is now we'll initialize and create the MongoDB database, right? So we'll go ahead and say, do this. This will create multiple collections within the database. Oh, says connection failed. So it can check. Keep reading, right? I'm just trying to be quick here, but yeah, we have to keep reading and observing what it does and accordingly keep moving ahead. So now it says MongoDB services needs to be restarted and verifying. So we're restarting it. So continue to iterate. So we'll start the service. Oh, so there are certain permission issues. Let's sudo switch on and MongoDB run MongoDB. Let's check. But just permission issues for MongoDB to write it. Start. Oh, permission denied. For now, I'll just go ahead with running MongoDB in foreground itself, accepting that. Otherwise, we could have definitely use a sudo command to do that, right? So run in command terminal. Right, so we have successfully created the databases now. Good to go. Next to check out databases are listed. So listed, yes. Now we'll initialize the databases, sorry, collections within the databases. Now it works well. You can see the queries executed and good to go. Oh, okay, there was certain error with that. So keep going ahead, and then we will simply set up that this is the DB that you want to use. It should be using actually the semicolon out there. That's right. Good part is you would see that as soon as there is an error, it kind of identifies and attempts multiple options to resolve those errors automatically, right? So that's what makes Copilot agent quite different than that of assistant or any other code assistants in general, right? Let's wait for it to execute. Moving ahead, next step would be to simply update the project files, right, and populate the database with some test data. And that would complete the backend part. We can then set up the front end part as well. Let's wait for this to get completed. limiter of this. Also use sudo for terminal commands and then go ahead here. Right. So for now, I'll take a step ahead, right? Although this can take a bit of time and we got a little bit limited time here. So we'll go ahead here. Next, we're going to go ahead and update some of the Django apps. So let's say at the moment we have not created collections in the backend, so it may not populate data, but we'll see the skeleton of app and the py files getting created. So right now it's going to go ahead and create the MongoDB connections in the backend with modify those using within settings.py, models.py, and admin.py as well. So you would see in the backend, we got tracker app where we got the admin.py, apps.py, model.py, test.py, views.py created, right? And we got the other files also up and running, right? And so these files are now updated, as you can see, right? Next step can be that we can go ahead and populate the database with some test data. We won't be able to do the populate stuff because our collections are not created yet. Let me try out now creating collections if it can do that still. So let's continue to iterate. Next, we can activate and install some of the Django code header packages, right? And done we are. So I'll check again with the database setup, right? And see that if that can be done, collections are already existing or it can be created. Right, here we go. Okay. Finally, we'll go ahead and we'll not populate this. So we'll go ahead to the next step, which is the last step, right? The step 4 around creating the. So I'll share the link for steps as well, which you can try out. So we'll also set up the front end framework as well. And we'll say set up the front end. Set up the React components on front end. wait for this to get closed. Right. So likewise, you can also give a try to all these steps, right, with ease and proper steps, right? So you would see this. I'll share the link for this as well in the chat, right, so that you can give a try with all the steps. And make sure don't forget to use the link to use the template. You will have to set up your own GitHub account to get this actively working for you, right? The core idea is to give you a quick context around what exactly a Copilot agent is, what it can do. So it can act as an agentic assistant, which can do all the jobs of maybe starting from writing code to refactoring, restructuring the code, executing terminal command, reading the response of terminal command accordingly, refactoring its own approach as well, right? So more of an end-to-end coding assistant, as good as maybe a human coder would be, right? So that's what makes the Copilot agent more significantly different than using maybe generic code assistants or any chat assistant engines. So I would encourage you all to explore this, right? And I'll have to say yes for now here and check it out, right? So meanwhile, this is executing. So we'll also open the floor for questions for next 2 to 3 minutes. If you have any, you can post that up in chat. Right. Meanwhile, let's wait for this to get executed so that we can see the front end as well. Right. So done with that. So let's see command in terminal. Import the CSS using into index.js. Bootstrap is successfully imported. Now install the React router. Checking the front-end application, front-end folder, so that just to make sure that everything is all there. So we'll also check it manually over here. So checking out backend, and then we have got front-end. So front-end, yes, we got public SRC, and most of the files available. So good to go. The directory is a bit of a challenge. Installed, and next we'll simply go for executing it. All right, so almost done. Let's see it here. On the other thing is that it's important to be patient with it, and it works quite well. Just we have to make sure that we read everything before we keep pushing to execute. Then it's going to execute the activities or teams and leaderboard.js. Right, so let's check if we can launch this. So it is deploying on public 8,000, 3,000. I think I should have modified the I should have modified the prompt a little bit so it won't work as is as expected. We just have to modify the code spaces here, but let that be. So this was it. You can give a try with all the steps here, everyone, and execute them one by one. That should make it work for you, right? So this was an example of building building application with GitHub Copilot agent mode, right? So this is where we're done with it, right? And so at the end of the webinar, now you have explored what exactly GitHub Copilot agent mode is and how can you use it. You can go ahead and test out at your pace. The video of the webinar will be available to you. Moreover, yes, we can scan the QR code that is mentioned here, and that would help you participate in the Guinness Book World Record Microsoft event. And what's more, you can also scan another QR code to add this skill badge to your Microsoft profile as well. Right. So that was it. We'll take a pause here for the day. Thank you for joining the webinar.
Thank you, Anshu. With that, team, we appreciate your participation for this event. Learners who've attended the event for 40 minutes or more, we will share your participation certificates on your respective email IDs, right? The house is open. Any questions you may have before we wrap up, please let us know in the chat.
I can see a few. Let me just quickly take them up. Can we make front-end using Copilot AI agent for particular app which we develop? Yes, you can do that, Vishal. Likewise, there was an example with React. So yeah, that's Stable Copilot supports that. In fact, if you follow through the current example, you would see that it also develops front-end as well. There's a question. Is there any way to correct the command suggested by Copilot agent if needed? Yes, you can always modify that and edit that as well. Right. So yep, that was it. Any more questions? Feel free to post that in chat. Yeah, Vishal. So I have answered your question that we can create front end, not design, but yeah, implementation of front end code using React with Copilot agent. So that's doable. All right.
Okay, we take that as no more question for now. Okay, Ram, you may have a question. Please put up in the chat.
If you're looking for design specifically, as in the UI design, UX design, so that Copilot doesn't support for now. You can use Figma plugins like UX Copilot for that, that it does. But GitHub Copilot agent mode is primarily for coding development. So yes, if you have design ready, you can, do the stuff with Copilot agent for sure. You can do coding here, development here with it. Right. Thank you. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you everyone for your participation. You have a wonderful day ahead. With this, we'll wrap up with this session. Thank you once again for taking part and joining along with us today.